Tutiya Koroe Dasa Trinapeka Tina Sakalasahane Bolodiya Koro Nijamane Srihayina Sakale Saman Korite Shakati Dehonata Jagata Tavidogaibo Harina Basuke Aparara Habehata Kavehe no kita lavaye jana vikata hoye denata Kavehe no kita lavaye jana vikata hoye denata Shakti Buri Amiyati Koramore Atmasata Yogyatya Vichare Kichunahi Pai Tomara Karuna Sara Last verse. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dase Chinate Kaya Pina Nitai Gaura Chandra Sava Avatar Sarashinamani Kevalananda Kanda Bajo Bajo Bai Caitanya Nitai Surya Vishvasa Kori Vishaya Chodiya Shirasi Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Jeko Ore Pai Tribhuvan Hitai Hemana Doya Lazata Pashu Pakhi Jhure Pashana Vidare Shune Jar Guna Gata Samsari Mojiya Ruhiri Poriya Shepode Nahi Loasha Apana Karama Banjai Shamana Koi Lochana Dasa Parama Karuna Pahandi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Jai Gaur Premanande Shri Guru Puja Guru Vandana. Starting with a few introductory prayers which we tack on here and there just so it becomes second nature habit. It's not a bad idea. Shadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paye Chekeva 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 Namasheshtam Manamapi Shachi Putram Matra Sarupam Sirupam Tasya Grajam Urupari Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramoho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi He Guru Jnanadarina Bandho Svananda Data Karanayaka Sindho Davanasina hitavatar, Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara, He Dina Bandho Koranaika Sindo, Guru Prasadam Maimanda Mude, Laksha Parade Bahu Papagade, Yatpada Padme Stumatishta Krishna, Naivo Payantya Pachitim Kavayasta Vesha, Brahmayushapi Kridam Riddham Udasmaranta, Yontar Bahista Nubratam Ashubam Vadunvan, Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Yanakti. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name. The divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I'm a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I've fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kahati Shadma. Bando mui savadana ma te. Jahara prasade bai bhavato Riyajai. Krishna prapti hoy ja hoy te. Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chittete Ko Riya Oikya. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya. Anakori Homaneya Sha. Anakori Homaneya Sha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Eseu Tamagati. Sri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttamagati. Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha. Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha. Chakudan Thiloje Janme Janme Prabhushe. Divya Gyan Hre Prakashita. Divya Gyan Hre Prakashita. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Abhijja Vinasa Jate. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Abhijja Vinasa Jate. Vede Gai Jahara Charito. Vede Gai Jahara Charito. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Lokera Jivana. Lokanath Lokera Jivana Ha Prabhu Kora Doya Dehamore Padachaya Prabhu Kora Doya Dehamore Padachaya Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Jai Om Vishwapad, Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shri Shrimad Bhai Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishwapad, Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shri Shrimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Ganadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokupinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadip Ki Jai. Shri Jagadat Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Sambeta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Srimad Bhagavatam class.
there's a rack transit. Even like at the entrance. Don't sleep in the book room anymore.
We were like sitting outside and like kept coming closer. They were like trying to it's like really bitter.
The Fiji? It's because of the cockroaches. No, it's probably because you brushed your teeth not too long ago. Okay. Just leave it.
Maybe I have jaundice.
Jaundice. Are you guys changing before in the evening? Into what?
Wait, what would you wear? Where are you going? Why are you bringing that home?
What are you going to change into?
What are you gonna change it to? Oh yeah, so.
Yeah,
Actually,
sorry.
or a narco. I can wear a narco.
But you're in a narco.
I'll probably figure it out like last minute.
Okay, I just don't know if I'm supposed to change. Oh, you can wear like this. Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's really cold, which is why I'm like, little. Yeah. You. Actually fine.
Good morning, everyone. It's okay to say good morning. Yeah, because Ayur Harati Vaipumsam. It's a good morning because when the sun rises and you're hearing and chanting, it means that you're developing your spiritual bank account. If you're not, then you're wasting a day and the sun's going over speaking to you saying, I'm taking away your life. So Vaishnavas can say good morning. Prabhupada used to say it on his morning walks. We can be normal people. But not at the same time. And also, I'd like to dedicate this class today to Yashoda Vatsal Prabhu's dear father, whose name is say it again, please. Suklal Sandane. Prabhu, his dear father had suddenly passed away last night due to heart attack. So Yashoda Vatsal Prabhu just informed us, and then he's getting on a plane to go to do his duties, his last rites. It's a common incident. Of course, we can expect all such changes in life as we're in a community. It's part of the way that we grow together is to support one another through birth, disease, old age, death, and so forth, as inevitable, albeit superfluous aspects of our life. It still affects us, but we all process it through the lens of Krishna consciousness. And remember how even Krishna, at the end of Kurukshetra, went to perform the last rites for all those who were grieving, not the least of which was Yudhishthira, who was disconsolate. And then Krishna took him to speak to Bhishma in his last days. So we pray that Yashoda Vatsal's dear father receives shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in eternal service. Om Tat Sat. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janna Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari I just need a Bhagavatam. I mean, yeah, only needs a Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Kunti Devi Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. For our Mangala Charana today, we're going to chant the first several verses from the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. Bande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nisha Vatarakan Tat Prakasham Statash Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sandhyakam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Gauradai Pushpavanto Chitra Shando Tamonudao Yada Dvetam Brahmopanishaditarapyasya Tanuba Yad Mantaryami Purushaiti Sosham Shabibhavaha Shadaishvaryai Puno Yayiha Bhagavan Saswayamayam Chaitanya Krishna Jagati Paratattvam Paramiha Anarpita Charin Shirat Karunayavatirna Kalau Samarpayitum Natojvarasam Sabhakti Shriyam Hare Purakasundara Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Smrituba Sachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rasman Ekatmanam Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Vedam Katau Chaitanyakyam Prakadamarana Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Tuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Sarupam Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanaya Eva Swadhyo Yena Bhutta Madhurima Kidrisho Vamaniya Saukyam Shasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Veti Loba Tadbhavadya Samajani Shachigarbha Sindho Harindo Sankarshana Karanato Shahi Garbhoda Shahi Chapayogdishahi Sheshascha Yasyam Sakalasa Nityam Nandakya Rama Sharanam Namastu Mayatite Vyapi Vaikuntha Loke Punaishvarye Shri Chaturvyuha Madhye Rupam Yasyo Bhati Sankarshanam Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Maya Partas Kantas Sankashrayana Chaite Shakshat Karanam Bodhi Madhye Yasyai Kamsa Shri Bhuman Adidevas Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Yasyam Sham Sha Shila Garbhoda Shayi Yanadyabjam Loka Sangata Nalam Loka Shrastu Sutikadama Datus Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Yasyam Sham Shamsha Paratma Kilanam Poshta Vishnur Pati Dugdabdi Shayi Shauni Bharata Yakala Sokyanantas Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya Srichatyaya Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita Charya Ishvara Advaita Malena Advaita Acharyam Bhakti Shamshana Bhaktavatara Nishantam Advaita Charyam Ashraye Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namani Bhakta Shaktikam Jayatam Suratal Pangor Mamanda Matirgati Matsarva Swapadam Bojao Radha Madana Mohano Divyaranyanya Kalpadramada Srimad Ratnakara Simhasanastav Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Krishtali Bhisevya Manusmarami Srimad Rasa Sarambi Vamshivata Kakastita Prashanvi Uswane Gopi Gopinatha Shri Estunaha Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda 18 Thakur Gauriya Ke Kariyachina Atmasad Etinera charan bandon tine morana. Grante rambe kari mangala charana. Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tine Rasmarani Hoy Vidnamunashana Anayase Hoy Mitya Anchita Purana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Would you please put up the Veda-based next section after the last verse? Tinira Smarani. So this first chapter of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta begins with obviously a Mangalacharana, which we just sang, which is a prerequisite for entering into discussion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must seek the blessings of the previous acharyas and not think oneself self-sufficient in speaking Krishna Katha. And one also seeks the blessings of one's Guru Varga. And I'll read the English parts. If you want to just put up. The invocation involves three processes defining the objective: offering benedictions and offering obeisances. The first two verses offer respectful obeisances generally and specifically to the Lord, who is the object of worship. In the third verse, I indicate the absolute truth, who is the ultimate substance. With such a description, one can visualize the supreme truth. In the fourth verse, I have invoked the benediction of the Lord upon all the world, praying to Lord Caitanya for his mercy upon all. In that verse, I have also explained the external reason for Lord Caitanya's incarnation. But in the fifth and sixth verses, I have explained the prime reason for his advent. In these 6 verses, I have described the truth about Lord Caitanya, whereas in the next 5, I have described the glory of Lord Nityananda. The next 2 verses describe the truth of Advaita Prabhu, and the following verse describes the Panchatattva, the Lord, his plenary portion, his incarnation, his energies, and his devotees. These 14 verses, therefore, offer auspicious invocations and describe the supreme truth. I offer my obeisances unto all my Vaishnava readers as I begin to explain the intricacies of all these verses. I request all my Vaishnava readers to read and hear with rapt attention this narration of Sri Krishna Caitanya as inculcated in the revealed scriptures. Let Krishna, Lord Krishna, enjoys by manifesting himself as the spiritual masters, the devotees, the diverse energies, the incarnations, and the plenary portions. They are all 6 in one. I therefore worship the lotus feet of these 6 diversities of the one truth by invoking their benedictions. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnations, his plenary portions, his energies, and the primeval Lord himself, Sri Krishna Caitanya. I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and of all my instructing spiritual masters. My instructing spiritual masters are Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. These 6 are my instructing spiritual masters, and therefore I offer millions of respectful obeisances at their lotus feet. There are innumerable devotees of the Lord, of whom Srivas Thakur is the foremost. I offer my respectful obeisances thousands of times unto their lotus feet. Advaita Acharya is the Lord's partial incarnation, and therefore I offer my obeisances millions of times at his lotus feet. Srila Nityananda Ram is the plenary manifestation of the Lord, and I have been initiated by him. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the internal potencies of the Lord, of whom Sri Gadadhar Prabhu is the foremost. Lord Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the personality of Godhead himself, and therefore I offer innumerable prostrations at his lotus feet. Having offered obeisances unto the Lord and all his associates, I shall now try to explain these 6 diversities in one. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Krishna Caitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. Acharyamam vijanayam navamanyeta karichit namartya buddhyasuyeta sarva deva mayo guru. One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Godhead, Krishna, the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in 2 features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. Does that verse sound familiar? See? To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport. This verse of the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 clearly states how Govindadev instructs his bona fide devotees. The Lord declares that by enlightenment in theistic knowledge, he awards attachment for him to those who constantly engage in his transcendental loving service. This awakening of divine consciousness enthralls a devotee who thus relishes his eternal transcendental mellow. Such an awakening is awarded only to those convinced by devotional service about the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead. They know that the supreme truth, the all-spiritual and all-powerful person, is one without a second and has fully transcendental senses. He is the fountainhead of all emanations. Such pure devotees, always merged in knowledge of Krishna and absorbed in Krishna consciousness, exchange thoughts and realizations as great scientists exchange their views and discuss the results of their research in scientific academies. Such exchanges of thoughts in regard to Krishna give pleasure to the Lord, who therefore favors such devotees with all enlightenment. Sugiwa. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan, taught Brahma and made himself realized. Please hear attentively what I shall speak to you, for transcendental knowledge about me is not only scientific, but also full of mysteries. By my causeless mercy, be enlightened in truth about my personality, manifestations, qualities, and pastimes. Prior to the cosmic creation, only I exist, and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. What appears to be truth without me is certainly my illusory energy, for nothing can exist without me. It is like a reflection of a real light in the shadows. For in the light there are neither shadows nor reflections. As the material elements enter the bodies of all living beings, and yet remain outside them, I exist within all material creations, and yet am not within them. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must therefore always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know the all-pervading truth. All glories to Chintamani and my initiating spiritual master, Somagiri. All glories to my instructing spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears peacock feathers in his crown. Under the shade of his lotus feet, which are like desire trees, Jaya Shri Radharani enjoys the transcendental mellow of an eternal consort. Since one cannot visually experience the presence of the Supersoul, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. One should therefore avoid bad company and associate only with devotees. With their realized instructions, such saints can cut the knot, connecting one with activities unfavorable to devotional service. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith in that, in due course develops. One attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. A pure devotee constantly engaged in the loving service of the Lord is identical with the Lord, who is always seated in his heart. Saints are my heart, and only I am their hearts. They do not know anyone but me, and therefore I do not recognize anyone besides them as mine. Saints of your caliber are themselves places of pilgrimage. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord, and therefore they can purify even the places of pilgrimage. Such pure devotees are of two types: personal associates, parishats, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas. There are three categories of incarnations of Godhead: partial incarnations, qualitative incarnations, and empowered incarnations. The Purushas and Matsya are examples of partial incarnations. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are qualitative incarnations. Empowered incarnations are those like the Kumaras, King Prithu, and Mahamuni Vyasa, the compiler of the Vedas. The personality of Godhead exhibits himself in two kinds of forms, Prakash and Vilas. When the personality of Godhead expands himself in many forms, all non-different in their features, as Lord Krishna did when he married 16,000 queens and when he performed his rasa dance, such forms of the Lord are called manifested forms, Prakash Vigrahas. It is astounding that Lord Sri Krishna, who is one without a second, expanded himself into 16,000 similar forms to marry 16,000 queens in their respective homes. When Lord Krishna, surrounded by groups of cowherd girls, began the festivities of the rasa dance, the Lord of all mystic powers placed himself between each two girls. When the cowherd girls and Krishna thus joined together, each girl thought that Krishna was dearly embracing her alone. To behold this wonderful pastime of the Lord's, the denizens of heaven and their wives, all very eager to see the dance, flew in the sky in their hundreds of airplanes. They showered flowers and beat sweetly on drums. If numerous forms, all equal in their features, are displayed simultaneously, such forms are called Prakash Vigrahas of the Lord. But when the numerous forms are slightly different from one another, They are called Vilas Vigrahas. When the Lord displays numerous forms with different features by his inconceivable potencies, such forms are called Vilas Vigrahas. Examples of such Vilas Vigrahas are Baladev Narayan in Vaikuntha Dham and the Chaturvyuha Vasudev Sankarshana Pradyumna and Aniruddha. The energies, consorts of the Supreme Lord, are of three kinds: the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, the queens in Dwarka, and the gopis in Vrindavan. The gopis are the best of all, for they have the privilege of serving Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, the son of the king of Vraj. The personal associates of the primeval Lord, Sri Krishna, are his devotees, who are identical with him. He is complete in his entourage of devotees. Now I have worshipped all the various levels of devotees. Worshipping them is the source of all good fortune. So we'll end there. And today we'll be reading from the first couple of verses from the prayers of Queen Kunti, which are now a subject of meditation. Anybody started yet? Everyone started? Now you know it's better get a good head start, right? No panic at the end. We're dedicated to memorizing these prayers together and finding it easier as we go, right? Because we can surprise ourselves and also notice that for those who sincerely try and get as much exposure as possible, as early as possible, Krishna helps those who help themselves. And today we'll start with Queen Kunti's prayers, which begin at, first part of the quiz is, where does it begin? Okay. I failed, you passed. Okay. Kunti uvacha Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahir Avastitam Kunti uvacha Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahir Avastitam. All you. Kunti uvacha
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam
Ishwaram Prakrite Param
Ishvaram Prakrite Param
Alaksham Sarvabhutanam
Laksham Sarvabhutanam
Antarbahiravastitam
Antarbahir Avastitam.
Kunti uvacha
Go.
Kunti uvacha
Kunti uvacha
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam
Ishwaram Prakrite Param
Ishvaram Prakrite Param
Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam
Alaksham Sarvabhutanam
Antarbahiravastitam.
Antarbahir Avastitam.
Kunti uvacha
Kunti uvacha
Namasye Purusham Tvadyam
Namaste Purusham Tvadyam
Ishwarham Prakrite Param
Ishvaram Prakrite Param
Alakshyam Sarvabhutanam
Laksham Sarvabhutanam
Antarbahiravastitam.
Antarbahir. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality of Godhead and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. May we have the version with the word for word, please? Kunti vacha namaste purusham dvadyam ishvaram prakrite param alaksham sarva bhutanam antar bahir avastitam. Kunti vacha namaste purusham dvadyam ishvaram prakrite param alaksham sarva bhutanam antar bahir avastitam. Kunti vacha namaste purusham tvadyam prakrite param. Kunti uvacha. Srimati Kunti said, Namaste, let me bow down. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Tva, you. Adyam, the original. Ishvaram, the controller. Prakrite, of the material cosmos. Param, beyond. Alakshyam, the invisible. Sarva, all. Bhutanam, of living beings. Anta, within. Bahi, without. Avastitam, existing. Purport. Srimati Kunti Devi was quite aware that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, although he was playing the part of her nephew. Such an enlightened lady could not commit a mistake by offering obeisances unto her nephew. Therefore she addressed him as the original Purusha beyond the material cosmos. Although all living entities are also transcendental, they are neither original nor infallible. The living entities are apt to fall down under the clutches of material nature, but the Lord is never like that. In the Vedas, therefore, he is described as the chief among all living entities. Nityo nityanam, chaitanash chaitananam. Then again, he is addressed as Ishvara, or the controller. The living entities or the demigods like Chandra and Surya are able to some extent, like Chandra and Surya are also to some extent Ishvara, but none of them is the supreme Ishvara or the ultimate controller. He is the Parameshvara or the supreme or the super soul. He is both within and without. Although he was present before Srimati Kunti as her nephew, he was also within her and everyone else. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and only due to me one remembers, forgets, or is cognizant, etc. Through all the Vedas I am to be known, because I am the compiler of the Vedas, and am the teacher of the Vedanta. Queen Kunti affirms that the Lord, although both within and without all living beings, is still invisible. The Lord is, so to speak, a puzzle for the common man. Queen Kunti experienced personally that Lord Krishna was present before her, yet he entered within the womb of Uttara to save her embryo from the attack of Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Sri Krishna is all-pervasive or localized. In fact, he is both, but he reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This checking curtain is called the Maya energy of the Supreme Lord, and it controls the limited vision of the rebellious soul. It is explained as follows. Here we have the famous prayers of Kunti Devi, starting with Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param, which she's offering obeisances to her nephew, but actually she's fully cognizant that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's playing the part of her nephew, which is one of the bewildering aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Jananivasa. He walks among the jana. Means he walks among the general populace. Not just walks, but he interacts with other living entities in relationships like mother, father, cousin, brother, nephew, or auntie, and so forth. And this is the prerogative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has... Can you move the purport up to the top, please? Thank you. Who has expanded himself. No, just top of the purport. Thank you. Expanded himself for his own enjoyment. Eko Bahushyam means the one becomes many for his enjoyment. And the enjoyment is the loving exchanges he has with his devotees. In the material world, Krishna is neutral towards everyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshasti na priya eba janti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Where Krishna says, Samoham. Samoham. I'm equal to everyone. Sarva bhuteshu, that means all living entities. And name dvesho, he has no objection to anyone. Stinapriya, and nor is anyone dear to him. He remains at arm's length from the souls in the material world, fulfilling their desires. Naishampara varamatir bhavato nanu sajjantori atatma surido jagatas tatapi samseva yasuratayo revate prasada samsevanu rupa udayam naparavaratvam. As Prahlad Maharaj says that Naisha Paravaramatu Bhavato Nanusyaj Jantori Yatama Surido Jagatastatapi. That the Lord only, he's like the Lord is like a desire tree. And the desire tree doesn't consider para avara, whether somebody's higher or lower. He only considers sevanu rupa. What is the form of their service? What kind of mood do they have towards him? Sevanu rupam udayuna paravaratvam seva. What's the last line? Seva. That's the last one. Sevanu rupa udayuna paravaratvam. Now paravaratvam means he doesn't consider the higher or lower, and he's just like a desire tree. Suratoror. Toror means a tree. Sevatoror. So he fulfills the desires of everyone. In the material world, the living beings are in a state of ignorance. They're ignoring the Lord. So the Lord doesn't interact with them until they become interested in Him. Samaham sarvabhuteshu name dveshostina priya ye bhajanti means when they express their sense of devotion to the Lord. Now, parents, when they raise children, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're waiting for a time when the child recognizes the parents, besides just as order suppliers. Because baby doesn't really think of the parents as friends or that they have any intellectual capacity. They're basically on the level of annamoy. They just feed me, and I'll cry if you don't. Just watch me. And as a child grows up, there's a point at which, in maturity, the child approaches the parents and says, "Oh, I brought you a card out of appreciation for all you've done for me over the last 18 years. And the more the child recognizes the parent and sees that there's an actual deeper relationship between order carrier and dependent, then a relationship starts. So living entities in the material world are described as being dependent. in the verse later on in the purport, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. Vidadhati Kaman just means they're desiring many things, but and Krishna's just supplying them. And this is the neutral stage of the living entities. They're simply absorbed in the external energy. So Kunti here is giving an indication of the position of somebody who's awakened to their sense of maturity as a living entity. And Namaste Purusham Tvadyam Ishvaram Prakrite Param. That now I want to offer my obeisances unto you. This is the awakening of a sense of bhakti in the heart of a living entity. That I recognize that Krishna is my Lord. In fact, there may be a time in which one doesn't recognize Krishna, but one recognizes that there is a supreme spirit or a supreme controller, and one has a feeling of calling out to the Lord. In fact, it's mentioned how Gajendra had called out to the Lord before he had a clear idea of who he was calling out for. And it's in that way of beseechingly calling out to the Lord that the Lord then responds. So, one of the important points in our philosophy is that the Lord is responsive. He responds. And the spond, interestingly, if you trace it out, means that you make a sound. Like transpond. You've heard of that, right? Transponder. The flight from Malaysia Airlines. Is there enough air in here? You're all air starved, I can tell. We would like to have 82% more oxygen. That includes cross ventilation and fans, if necessary, to get to the 82% increase. And if elected, I guarantee an 82% increase in oxygen for all citizens. The transponder went out on the airline and it got lost. And there's a way that Krishna is responsive to us when he hears a sound other than look at me or where's my stuff and that's mine, don't touch it, etc. There's an awakening in the life of a soul in the material world by association with great souls, that one may come to feel some sense of bhakti and want to call out to the Lord. And anyone, bhaktyatu tosha bhagavan gajayutapaya, we know from Prahlad Maharaj, who said that Gajendra called out to the Lord, and therefore the Lord responded to him. He came immediately. So there's a way in which when we come to this point in our life when we realize that the Lord is responsive, that if I say something to him with feeling, then he'll say something to me also. And we just heard it in the preamble to the Caitanya Caritamrta. Kaviraj Goswami quotes 10:10, Tesham satata yuktanam, bhajatam priti, bhajatam priti. And this bhaj means to worship. And how priti, if there's some love, there's a quality of the bhajan. Purvakam, dadami. Dadami means I give something. It's like he's responding. Damye tat Ritambama. This is also Lord Ramachandra says, I respond. Sakradeva prapano, yes. Tavasmiti jayachate. The damye tat Ritambama. He said if somebody says that you send out this signal you want to send out a signal, say, Krishna, I surrender to you. Sakradeva prapanoyas. And Ramachandra said, you say that one time. Sakrit Eva only. Sakrit Eva. Just say it one time. I dare you. Prapanoyas, that I surrender. Tavas miticha yachite. That he says, from that day forward, then I will be your protector. He won't forget it one time. That's how responsive he is. So basically, every living entity has a little hair trigger. You know what a hair trigger is? You're not gun nuts, right? Say no, I'm not. Yeah, we're not. We don't have a lot of guns in our community. A hair trigger means some guns, their trigger, I'm not either, so don't get me wrong here. I just grew up in America, so I know these things. So the trigger is so sensitive that if you barely tap it, it's called a hair trigger and it goes off. So hair trigger means you don't have to pull it very hard. You just have to barely touch it, and then bang, it goes off. So we have that hair trigger. If we just say, Krishna, I surrender to you. Then Sakradeva Prapano, yes, Tavasmiti Chayachite. That Krishna is, who Lord Ramachandra said, I heard that. Krishna is waiting to hear it. That the soul has come to a point of maturity. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. That's the second half of the verse I quoted earlier, in which everything changes. The relationship changed. Hey, you look different. What happened to you? You look brighter, happier. You're dressing different now. What's up with you anyway? It's like, I have a relationship. Yeah, that's what happens to us. Everything's about us when we're in an immature stage. It's all about my personal needs, and we don't even recognize our parents, and we don't recognize God. We just eat. And where's the rest of it? And why wasn't there more? And how come it wasn't on time? Blah, blah, blah. The living entity, immature in the material world. But when there's an awakening of understanding from this verse, Namaste, there's a way that, no, not me. I'm offering my obeisance to you. I recognize that Ishvara, God, He's there. He's supplying everything. It's really an awakening of gratitude. They say thank you, meaningfully. And then Krishna, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. When there's that tiny, tiny expression of a soul towards Him, then His heart goes out to that person. His vow is that now this person's mine. And I'm ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, mai te shuchapyaham. Krishna said, okay, we're together now. We're back together. It's like, why do you look so? I'm back together. We got back together. That's why I feel so good. That's the sojourn of living entity in the material world, lost without a relationship, and then said, what happened to you? You look so nice. It's like, we got back together. And that's the purpose of the material world, is to get back together with Krishna. Otherwise, we have a terrible relationship in the material world. Durgani te padayugale hamsasang. There's a very difficult relationship we have with the material world. But if we can develop a Hangsa Sangha, get association of the swan-like personalities who have a relationship with Krishna, it's very edifying. We feel happy and well aligned. So this is a starting verse where we can take shelter. Kunti is offering her obeisances. She's admitting something that the soul is just waiting to express, is that you are the original personality. That's something that when we sing in the morning, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, that's why it feels so nice. To stand before the deity, Prabhupada introduced, you come here, you just stand before the deity, the curtain opens, and sing this song. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship this original person. That's bhakti. Very simple. God's there all the time for us. And then, what's up with you? I was like, I forgot. I got distracted. Sun got in my eyes. Dog ate my homework. And if you just remember that what Kunti is saying here, you are the original personality of Godhead. And then what kind of friends do you have anywhere that are unaffected by the qualities of the material world? That's the kind of friend you want to have. The person who's unaffected. You can be proud to have a friend like that doesn't have any involvement with the material world, because it's such an embarrassment, the material world. It's a way that, as mentioned by Karabhajana Muni in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he said that when one comes in contact with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's able to overcome the embarrassment of being involved with the material world. Everyone tries to hide it. They're part of the material world, and we might play this game where we're trying to pretend everything's okay. But it's really not. In fact, I've seen it myself as my family got older. I had that perspective with my parents because I was the last one into the family. What's that? There's FIFO, LIFO, last out, last in, first out. Well, I haven't been the first out. Sister already left. So I forget what that's, last in, last out. First out, FIFO, it's FIFO. I was a FIFO child. I hope I'm the last out. In any case, then I could see that aging process, and then there's a lot of cover-up, like trying to hold everything together like it's okay, and then when somebody does leave, everyone acts surprised, like what happened. And in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about that. Ukramantam stitam vapi bunjanam bhagunan vitam vimuda. Don't be stupid, he said. Vimuda nana pashyanti. Don't be such an idiot. Try to understand what's going on. Vimuda nana pashyanti. Pashyanti jnana chakshusa. Get a little knowledge about what's actually happening here. And don't act surprised. Don't try to cover it up. It's like we had a good run. That was the theme. That, yeah, we had a good run. Not so good. Main thing is, namaste purusham tvadyam. Just admit that Krishna is Ishvara and you're not. Fair enough? Makes life easy. Ishavasyam idang sarvam yakinchajaga. Just sign over all your stuff. And say, like, no, it's not mine, belongs to Krishna, I'll just take whatever I need. That's the sane way to live. And then, if you can express with devotion a sense of Krishna, you're the original Ishvara. Keep going down. Alaksham sarva bhutanam. Alaksham means invisible. Sarva bhutanam antarbahiravastitam. But that we should understand that he's within and without everything. And that he pervades even our senses. As Brahma had mentioned, if Brahma can't find Krishna with his senses, then nobody can. When he came out onto the lotus flower, Tvatsambhava atonvira pashyamanas Tvam bijam atmani tatam sabahir vachintya. What is it? Navinda abda shatu apsu nimajamano jaten kore jata ho kalabeta bijam. He came out on the lotus and he looked around. And Nija Apsamano mentioned there he dove into the water. I told that to somebody the other day and they said, I didn't know he dove into the water. He climbed down from the lotus flower and there was the Garbhadak ocean. So he was so eager to find his source that Nija Apsu Nimajamana means you think of Brahma. And he came out the lotus flower. He climbed down and then he dove in. And he's swimming around for 100 years looking, see where did I come from. And then he realized, what's the one that says he realized they were pervading as ekastvameva jagadan etamamusha yatvam adyanta yo pratagavasyasi madhyatascha shishva guna vyatikaram nijamaya edam nane vater avasitas taranu pravishtaha. He went back on the lotus and he performed some austerity to try to understand Krishna. And that's what we can do, because we can have this feeling that I want to have a connection with Krishna, and then we can get that connection through the mercy of devotees that Prahlad prayed for also. Evam janam nipatitam bravabahi kupe kama bikama arayam prapatam prasangat kritvatmersat shurarshina bhagavan grihito soham katam nuvishuje tava britya sevam. Britya seva means he realizes that there is God, and even though the Shringadev was standing right before him, he said, the way to actually see you is not with my normal eyes. It's Britya Sevam. I was overcome by the material nature, and I was as if thrown into a well full of snakes. My spiritual master came and saved me. So we can take up service to the Guru Parampara, Britya Sevam. Then that's the life of auspiciousness. It's like Brahma took tapasya. Then he could understand Krishna, who revealed first that he pervaded everything, including his senses, just like fragrance pervades the earth. It can only be extracted by a flower that grows out. So Kunti's setting the way that we can understand God. This is a profound verse, because even though he's antar bahir avastitam, he's existing within everything, I don't see him. I just drive to work and I complain that I have to sit in a cubicle, and then I don't like the way the way people do stuff. And I just become absorbed in the idea that I'm some independent living entity in the material world, but Krishna's within my heart. And yasmin yato yarhi yena cha yasya yasmad yasma yata yarutayas tapara aparova bhava karoti vikaroti prataksa bhava sanchoditas tarakilam bhavatak swarupam. Prahlad says, no, everything you're doing is Krishna. Your paycheck, that's Krishna. That's his energy. And your boss, it's Krishna. Coming to you saying, like, you don't want to hang around the material world, right? And everything you use, your car, the gasoline in the car, it's all yasmin yato yarhi yenacha yes yasma. Whatever it is, every aspect of the world, that's Krishna, and he's there within the senses. And then there's Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Taprat Vena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir. And then one can do the practical devotional service with one's senses. Rupa Goswami says, and engage your senses in devotional service in different stages of advancement to come to understand that Krishna is antar bahir avastitam. He existing within and without you. And as you do devotional service with your senses, get up in the morning early. Don't be a sleepyhead. Seriously, don't be a sleepyhead. All successful people learn how to control their senses, especially sleep. Go to bed early. Don't be a hippie doofus. Go to bed early. Don't be hippie doofus. And get up early like a yogi. And then chant Hare Krishna after a nice bath. And then read Bhagavatam. Hear Bhagavatam. Take only prasadam. Offer everything to Krishna. And then do all your work. But just realize that it's all Krishna's energy. Sachin Krishna told us the other day, as he picked us up from the airport, he said, how's the summer going? It was good, everyone's on vacation. We said, oh great. And he said, well, not so great. He got bored. And he said, work is good because it gives you something to do. And school is good too. It gives the kids something to do. And I appreciated that because Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanu smarayudyacha. Just, even though you're going to work, you have to go fight your fight out there in the material world. It's okay. You can get a electric leaf blower, start a little business, cleaning up yards. You can go to the office and ticky-ticky-tappy. Whatever it is you have to do it, he says. But just tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Just remember me all the time because you got to work. And then he said, Mayarpita mano buddhir, mami vaishyasya samshaya. There's no doubt that you'll attain perfection. So just remember the simple prayer of Queen Kunti. Is to offer yourself to Krishna. That's the essence of bhakti. So there's no more immaturity. Try to be embarrassed if you treat Krishna with indifference or if you forget how good he is to you. Namaste Purusham Tvadyam. And remember that he's the supreme controller. That's another aspect. So don't think you're the controller. And just remember that we're servants of Krishna. Now we'll take a few reflections or questions. Or if you'd like to offer some cross-referencing from this verse or purport and Prahlad Maharaj, then you're welcome to. Rasa Sindhu Prabhu, always ready with nice questions. Please go ahead. And reflections.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. A few questions and some reflection. Maybe I'll start with the reflections first. I was reflecting on the word alakshyam in this verse, and I realized that laksham means goal, and alaksham means not the goal. And I was thinking that how Queen Kunti is saying that Krishna is not the target. Where he is avasthitam, he is present, but he is not the target. So we are not looking at him, but he is present, and that makes it invisible. But he's there. If we look, then he's going to manifest. He's going to appear out of it. And so I found that very interesting. The other thing I like the idea of responding. You mentioned, and I was thinking that how Krishna is actually the first responder. We have first responders who, in times of emergency, they come up. They're the first ones, and or in Batman, they shine the bat signal, and then the Batman appears suddenly. So Krishna is in that way the first responder, but it is our responsibility to make the call. The question that I have in the beginning, the other thing I found interesting was Krishna is localized, Queen Kunti says. He's puzzling and he reserves the right to not appear. And so in restaurants, we refuse the right to serve anyone. So Krishna has that sign that he has a choice, and that's what makes him as a person, that he's the supreme and yet he has a choice. The question that I have was, in the Mangalacharana that we were reading, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that the spiritual master is a plenary portion of Krishna, and then he says the instructing spiritual master is the personality of Krishna. And I wonder if there's a differentiation that he's pointing towards, or is this the idea of the principle that the spiritual master is always a part of Krishna?
He does make those distinctions based on the idea of sambandha, abhideya, and prayojan. There are personalities who are respected, those teachers, those spiritual teachers within Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. And he distinguishes that even when we talk about 18 Thakur Goreyake Karayachina Atmasat, 18 Erachara Mandon Tine Mononat, that Madan Mohan is first attracting us away from the material world, and we get our Sambandha relationship, and then Govinda Dev is the deity of Abhideya, and then Prayojan is Gopinath. So there's some correlation that he gives there between the different kinds of gurus. Yes?
I just had a question about this responsiveness. Sometimes it looks like Krishna's way of responding is his lack of responding. So I was wondering if you could speak on that principle.
Well, there's such a thing as a pregnant pause. And Krishna's timing is impeccable. That's why Rupa Goswami advises us to be patient. He comes at the exact right time. I may not know, I do not know how everything's fitting together, but Krishna does. And Radhika Raman Prabhu once in New Vrindavan gave a talk about the ways in which Krishna responds to devotees. And he gives us an opportunity by giving that pause to then appreciate more our helplessness. Like, why did he catch Prahlad nearer to the bottom of the cliff instead of at the very top, or even apprehend those who were going to throw him over? And in Krishna's reciprocation with us, he knows just when to do things to bring out our deeper sense of attachment and dependence on him. It was observed with Prabhupada when he was leaving the world, that he was bringing his devotees closer and closer in a sense of dependence on him. He wanted to draw that out of them. And also in his final days, he often would pose proposition. He would make he made a proposition that, take me around Govardhan Hill. And then the devotees had to talk amongst themselves to decide. My point is that main purpose Krishna has is in his timing to bring out our sense of dependence on him. And it comes at the right time, according to his superior vision. We have two on the board. Who's that on the far left? Oh, he looks like a corporate executive there. I couldn't tell. Vaikuntha Naika, all the way from my
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Maharaj, I was wondering if you can please elaborate on that 8.7, where Krishna says that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mahamanasmara Yudhyacha. Thinking of me do carry out the prescribed duty of fighting. Like, if you could please elaborate. Like, the moment of fighting, I'm guessing it might not be possible to think of Krishna and still fight. Similarly, for me, if I am working in the office in some meeting or writing some code, at that time, I'm not sure if we can. So, does it have a different meaning? That
Well, the Prabhupada says in his purport that achieving that means to chant Hare Krishna. And if you can't chant Hare Krishna during the meeting, it'd be helpful if you chant before you go in the meeting. And if you have absorption in chanting before you go out and do your fighting, then you'll have a different perspective as you're doing your work, because you've already aligned yourself properly. Bhakti Parishanubhava Viraktiranyata Traishatrika Ekakala Prapadyamanase Yatashna Hastus Tushti Pushti Shurai Apayonugasam. That Kavihavi Yogendra compares bhakti to eating, and you get full. And then you feel satisfied and nourished. And if you feel satisfied and nourished by your chanting, in other words, you feel that you're self-satisfied when you go into the meeting and people start agitating because they're agitated in the mode of passion, and you've already touched some transcendence. You're going to come off differently in the meeting, and the effect of it is that you'll be guided by Krishna because you've taken time to chant. That's one of the meetings, because if you read Prabhupada's purport, he says it means to work and also chant. So chant your rounds before you go out in the world. And I've said before, don't shop when you're hungry, because you'll buy stuff you don't need. And so similarly, when you're fulfilled before you go out into the world, then you also won't fall into all the traps. You won't be grouchy, and you won't respond emotionally to people. Does that help? Okay, there was one more on the board, and then we go to Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you for the wonderful class today. Such a nectarian topic to set the mood, as many of us are preparing for the Kunti's prayers. I have one reflection and one question. So I was looking at this purport when we read it. So towards the end of purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Krishna reserves the right of not being exposed to persons who are not surrendered souls. This is in regards to the alakshya word. So elections are in the news, and Srila Prabhupada mentions this example a lot about the president of the country, that it's not our qualification to seek the president. The person may or may not choose to reveal himself to us. So that's how we should be thinking, that it's not my right. People ask like, oh, show me God, or where is God? But what is my qualification to see the God? God or Krishna will not reveal to me unless I'm surrendered. So I was thinking about this topic. And the question I have is, right before this, it says, Kunti herself was puzzled about whether Shri Krishna is all pervasive or localized. So it's said in more like a rhetorical mood, or is it like really she was puzzled whether Krishna is pervasive, all pervasive or localized? I wasn't clear about it.
Okay. Well, first of all, regarding your reflection, devotees have a little trick. It's a Britya Sevam. They know the way to Krishna's heart because Krishna loves his devotees so much. And the trick is that don't try to serve Krishna. Try to be das, 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 anudasaha. And if you find the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant somewhere, and you attach yourself in service, this is the back door. You can get in easily. You don't have to go through the guarded gate. Krishna will let you in because it's not what you know, it's who you know that counts in bhakti. And you just go like, I'm with him. That this person walks up to the gate, and it, like Prabhupada said, if you become friends with the Prime Minister's children, like you go to school with them and you hang out, and then they invite you over, that's it. You just get in because you're a friend of somebody who's so dear to them that they're not going to deny it. The daughter of the Prime Minister, Daddy. Like, all right, just make sure they don't have a gun. Or whatever it is, you get in. So there is a way in which this is the great secret that Prahlad Maharaj is revealing. That if you're Britya Sevam, you render service to the Britya, the servants of the Lord, then you easily can approach. And the bewilderment that Kunti expresses is expressed by all devotees. Narada Muni, when he went to see Krishna in Dwarka, and he was so amazed at seeing Krishna performing individual pastimes in every palace. The first one he went to, Krishna came out. He was there with Rukmini, and he came out to greet Narada, worshipped him, washed his lotus feet, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Narada Muni tolerated because he knew Krishna was just trying to set an example to worship a Brahmin sadhu. And then he went to the next house, and Krishna was doing something else, but he came out as if he hadn't seen him yet. And Narada's like, all right, I get it. And he went to the next place, and he kept going around, and he was so amazed that although Krishna, I mean, who could then comprehend that? That's why Krishna, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyattam murtina mastani sarvabhutani nachaham tesha vashtita. In the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying that this is my Aishwarya. You're not going to get it. It's not something you're going to get. How one personality becomes many. In fact, we were talking last night, Caitanya Prabhu, on the way home from the Harinam. It's like, where do devotees fit in the spiritual world? And sometimes they're in both pastimes. Try to figure that out. And so Krishna's inconceivable. And his devotees then look and see, well, you're amazing. If God wasn't so amazing that we didn't get it, and we kept being amazed, then he wouldn't be God, if you could figure him out. It's like, I got it now. You're all-pervading, but you're here with me. I figured it out. No, you never figure it out. You can hear it, but when you see it, even the smartest people, Brahma is a devotee, and he saw Krishna as a little boy, and Krishna has expanded himself into all his associates. And Brahma's going, which one's which? And then what he did was, he says, Gyane Priyasamudapasyanamad. He told everybody, don't try to figure this out. Don't intellectualize it. He said, just hear. Stani stita shuti katan tanavan manobir. Worship it. Come to the point. That's what Radhika Raman Prabhu was saying too when he gave his masterful, one of his masterful lectures, and at the end he said, that's where you want to end, where you're going, okay, I offer my heartfelt obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is so inconceivable. Who could figure him out? So Kunti is in that mode also. She knows who he is. That's what Prabhupada says in the first part of the purport. He's not making some mistake worshipping her nephew. It's like, oh, nephew. She knows, Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as my nephew, come on. And I know you're inside and out, but how does it work? It's very difficult to understand. Yes, right. Krishna Saka. Did it answer both parts of your question? Nirkula's looking out for you. You're on mute. We can read lips. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Yeah, so if I summarize my takeaways, like even the most exalted, topmost devotees like Kunti, Mahani, and Narad Muni, there's a chance that they will get bewildered, amazed. So for us normal people like us, we just don't need to intellectualize, as you said. Just follow and worship.
Yeah, and some devotees, it's not like they care that much. We know from when Uddhava brought a letter to the gopis in Vrindavan, they're just pining in separation. They can't sleep because their eyes are always, their face is wet with tears. And then Uddhava comes there with a message from Lord Krishna, says to them, don't worry, I'm all pervading. And then again, when they come to Kurukshetra, and the gopis and Nanda and Yashoda haven't seen Krishna for over 100 years, and finally they meet him, and he starts again with that. And the gopis, Ahushchate Nalina Nava Padada Vinda Yogeshwara Hridi Vichinta Aghada Bodhai. That he said, you're giving information for yogis. We're just poor householders. We don't know anything. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this is sarcastic. They're being sarcastic with Krishna. And they're a little angry too. It's like, you're bringing this up again? You did that. You brought that same message to us in Vrindavan. Now we come all the way to see you in Kurukshetra, and you're bringing it up again. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this information about all pervasiveness, you're within everything, that's how you can understand me. He says, that's like the sunshine. And the gopis are saying, we're getting scorched by that. They said, give us the moonshine, the moon-like beauty of your face. That's what we want. We don't care about all that other stuff. That's also there, although devotees know everything and they understand tattva, but when they love Krishna, they don't want to hear that. They just want to love him. And they don't even consider it. Even when Yashoda sees within the mouth of Krishna, because everyone was complaining about him when they were playing, and they came and said, Krishna ate dirt. It's like, what did Balaram said? He says it too. And then, Krishna, get over here. They're all saying you ate dirt. He said, they're lying. Bunch of liars. She says, you sit down right now, open your mouth. She looks in, she sees herself with Krishna on her lap, and then all the cosmic energies and everything working. She's like, okay, close your mouth. That's all right. For those who love Krishna, then the Aishvarya is suppressed. And Krishna may show it from time to time, it's always there, but they're not concerned with that. And whether he's internal or external, they just want to love Krishna. Uh-oh, we're going over time and there's more questions. Yes, Krishna Saka?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the...
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the wonderful class. I have a question regarding what on Vaikunt Nayak Prabhu's answer you gave. So I chant my rounds before starting my day because I feel like I will get crushed by material energy if I don't. So it's like there is some fear, and you said that to chant the rounds, so Krishna will guide us throughout the day. So is my mood correct in chanting? It's not out.
You don't want to get crushed?
No.
And you're afraid? Yeah, that's good. That's a reference. You can reference 10th Canto, Chapter 2. In it, Devaki is afraid all the time because Krishna is going to manifest from her, apparently. It's not a normal birth because he comes out. He doesn't really come out of her womb. He just appears first from the mind and heart of Vasudeva, and then the heart of Devaki, and then he appears with 4 arms and jewelry and a helmet and so forth. But it's described there that she was fearful because she was in a prison, and she knew that Kamsa wanted to kill her offspring. So there you'll find the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that the fear that Devaki had is something that all devotees should have for material nature. And when one has fear, as Prahlad Maharaj expresses, Naham bipemya jita teta bayana kasya jivarka netra brukuti rabasoga dhamscha antrashada shatajakesha rashanku karna nirrada bita digibad aribinna kagra trastos mahankripana vatsaladu hogra samsara chakra kadanadgra satam pranita badhasva karme burashatamit mulam prito pavarga sharanam Vaisesika danu. Said, I'm not afraid of you. Everyone else is freaked out, Brahma included. But even your high wedge-like ears, your roaring, that's scaring everybody all over the universe. That doesn't scare me, but your Vishnu Maya does. That I'll be reabsorbed by that. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, if you're afraid, then that fear kills the Sadgarbha asuras who represent Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mada, Moha, and Matsarya. And that's what's necessary. All those 6 have to be killed, just like Devaki's offspring, the first 6 were killed, right? And once those obstacles are gone, killed by fear of the material nature, then you can enter into bhakti proper. Okay, a couple more really quick. Vijay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for your nice class. Just in response to what you just said, Prabhupada said we have 2 diseases. We are not enough afraid of Maya, and we like to change things. And then about Devavrata Prabhu's class about response. I found this, I don't know who wrote it, but it's very beautiful. I asked for strength and Krishna gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom and he gave me problems to solve. I asked for courage and Krishna gave me obstacles to overcome. I asked for love and he gave me troubled people to help. I asked for favors and he gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted but everything I needed. Thank you, Krishna.
Tattoo. That's a tattoo. Nicely done. Mayapur Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the wonderful class. You mentioned about shelter. I've been earlier in my life being in the Pushti Marg background. The Maha Mantra there is Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, taking shelter of Krishna. So if you can elaborate what exactly taking shelter of Krishna means. I have some idea, but the mood, the activity, so we can progress further in that aspect.
First thing is to accept those things that are favorable. So make a list. Make a list of everything that's favorable for Krishna consciousness. And then on the other side of the page, make a list of things that are unfavorable. Do you have any ideas on one side or the other? Anybody? So then on the side of things that are favorable, then underline them and say, this is how I'm going to introduce it into my life. Like, name one thing favorable. Chanting Hare Krishna when?
Early
At
morning.
midnight? In the morning. So chanting Hare Krishna before the sun comes up. How's that? And then you put that down. That's a way of taking shelter of Krishna practically from our side. And then name something that's unfavorable. Longer list. Yeah. What? Staying up late at night and watching TV. That's definitely unfavorable. Unless it's a show about, Krishna. Then semi. So then put that on the other side and take steps to not do that. Those are the first parts of the 6-fold path of Sharanagati. It's so practical. You could make a little chart. You could make millions, actually, if you make a chart and distribute it for people to use, that you could improve your life that way. And you're doing something deliberately for Krishna. That's when Krishna reciprocates, especially when you make some sacrifice for him. Okay, there was nobody else, so we'll take the last one, which will be Devavrata Prabhu. And then we'll give a summary, and then we'll go to the last parts of our program.
I was listening to a class by Shiva Ramaraj a few years ago, and he was giving a series on Sharanagati. And he was emphasizing that Jiva Goswami in the Bhakti Sandarbha says that this point of Gopritve Varanam Tata is the Anga, and all the other ones are Angi. So even if one is mechanically trying to apply the processes of surrender, if one doesn't have a feeling of allegiance to a Vaishnava, to Krishna, then all of those other qualities, they can't actually develop organically. I thought it was an interesting point in relationship to Mayapur Prabhu.
Sharanagati. Britya Sevam. Take shelter of a Vaishnava. That's actually the most important aspect. And both Prahlad and Rahuganai tat tapasana yatin na chejaya nirvapanad grihadva na chandasanaiva jalagdi suryer vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. So just in conclusion, a couple of last points. And that is to remember that Krishna, he's the Ishwar. He's also Avigna, which means he's intelligent. Everything about Krishna's in creation is intelligent, and Krishna is intelligent too. Remember, he's really smart. And you can test living entities who are parts and parcels of Krishna. They're really smart. They know stuff. They can figure things out, like your mood or whatever. So imagine how powerful Krishna is, especially as they're in your heart. So remember, he's very intelligent. So the next is that he wants to reveal himself. And it's not that he's trying to hide, but he wants to reveal himself, but we have to be qualified. And the pauses, as Vijay Prabhu brought out so nicely in that poem, where he wants to qualify us so we can see him, because we have to have a certain level of receptivity to see him. So he's receptive to everything we do. He's very intelligent. He's also responsive. And then he's waiting for us, finally. As in the song I found online it's country music. You like country, right? Country western. Like I used to say when selling the Krishna book, do you like westerns? They say, yeah, and I go, great, this is an Eastern. And if they say no, they don't like westerns, that's okay too. I say, perfect, this is an Eastern. But in the country song, I found the refrain in the song was, I thought you'd never ask. Have you ever heard that? And it's in the context of the song, they're lovers, and one of them finally proposes and said, yeah, how about it? We're going to get married or what? And the other one says, I thought you'd never ask. And that's Krishna's mood towards us. Because we're the ones who didn't ask yet. We're so absorbed in how to build a spaceship to go to the moon or figure out how to make data go faster. Everything fine-tuning the material nature. And then Krishna's waiting. I thought you'd never ask. And so we could know that he's Suhrit. He's such a friend to us. He has so much love for us that he just comes with us wherever we are, and he's just waiting. And if we just ask the question and offer our obeisances, then everything will come from that. It's not complicated. It's from the heart, and it's very straightforward. And that's how you start bhakti, no matter where you are, is keep asking Krishna, may I please have a relationship with you? And just keep doing it. And the chanting of Hare Krishna, if it's very sincerely, if we do it from the heart and remember, out of gratitude that Krishna's there with us and we get to chant his names because he gave us a human tongue. And we just sincerely try, even if we don't know Sanskrit or we do a lot of things wrong. If you get that part right, then everything good will come. Yes, yes, bhakti or bhagavati kinchana, etc. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please empower us with a sincere desire in our hearts to serve the servants of your servants, a million times removed, in cooperation, in very humble spirit, especially spreading Krishna consciousness, because we know that's the most dear to you. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer. in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Subhadra. Okay, now we have the real show. This is the warm-up act. And we have the Kaishoras will come up and give their astute observations about Krishna Tattva.
I think she's somewhere else. She's somewhere else over here. Okay. Yeah. My first presentation. Okay, thanks. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for a very enlightening morning. We're going to have a presentation based on Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's book, Disapproved but Not Disowned. And the character is a very famous character. And the topic is gliding down from the mountain of pride. So I would like to invite Arman, who's going to be joining Kaishora class this year, to present on this topic. Arman is the son of Danakili Chintamani Mataji and Sachandra Krishna Prabhu, as many of us know. And she is my co-teacher. So it's my honor to invite Arman for this presentation. And frankly, I have nothing to work with him for, because he's the son of a very exalted parents, and they've done all the training. I'm just representing them by introducing him.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Before I start, I would like to thank Vaisesika Maharaj and Nurakala Mataji and all the other Vaishnavas for allowing me to speak about Krishna. Okay, let's start. Today, my presentation will be on Chapter 13 of the book Disapproved but Not Disowned by His Grace Gauranga Darshan Das. I will share 4 key takeaways from this chapter called Gliding Down from the Mountain of Pride. Okay, and first I'll share the story of Govardhan Leela. Let's start. One day, Krishna was 7 years old when he saw all the Vrajavasis getting ready for their annual ritual towards Lord Indra, the demigod of rain. Krishna asked his father, Nanda Maharaj, why they were worshipping Indra. He thought that they should worship Govardhan Hill instead because it provided all the natural resources needed for their livelihood, such as fruits, flowers, vegetables, drinking water, and etc. Nanda Maharaj said that they could worship Govardhan Hill another time and that they should continue their sacrifice to Indra right now. However, Krishna kept on insisting and finally persuaded Nanda Maharaj into doing the festival. A beautiful festival was put on, and everyone was happy except for one person. Can you guess who that was? That's right, Indra, whose festival was neglected because some little boy wanted to worship a hill. He became infuriated, and his sense of false pride and ego sparked. He decided to punish the Vrajavasis by sending down the thunderous Samavartaka clouds to flood Vrindavan for 7 whole days straight. Back in Vrindavan, all the Vrajavasis were getting very anxious because their homes were getting destroyed by the rain. They went to Krishna to ask for help. Krishna, seeing all the helpless Vrajavasis, decided to lift up Govardhan Hill with his left pinky and use it as an umbrella to protect the Vrajavasis from the rain. Krishna held up this hill for 7 days straight until Indra finally came to his senses and realized that this was not your ordinary cowherd boy. This was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He immediately went down to ask for Krishna's forgiveness. This part of the story is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 27, verse 2. Vivikta upasangamya vidita krita helana pasparsa padayorenam kirite narkavarkasa. Translation. Indra was very ashamed of having offended the Lord. Approaching him in a solitary place, Indra fell down and laid his helmet, whose effulgence was as brilliant as the sun, upon the Lord's lotus feet. Krishna forgave Indra and told him to never do it again. Unfortunately, Indra did not remember the statement, and an incident very similar to this happened again. One day, Krishna was with his wife, Satyabhama, in Dwarka, when Satyabhama requested the sacred Parijata tree from Indra's abode. Even though I'm not married, I know that if your wife asks you something, the husband has to do it. Therefore, Krishna went up to Indra's abode to get the Parijata tree. However, Indra would not let him, and they had a fight. Krishna, obviously being superior to Indra, won the fight and had to humble Indra once again. Hopefully this time, Indra learned his lesson. Now I will talk about the 4 key takeaways which I mentioned at the start of this presentation. First of all, people who are intoxicated with power expect honor from everyone, even those that are superior to them. Indra was intoxicated with power and expected honor from Krishna, who was superior to him. Secondly, Krishna saves pure devotees from the external calamities of natural disturbances, and he saves deviant devotees from the internal calamities of pride and anger. Krishna saved the Vrajavasis from Indra's flood, and Krishna saved Indra from his own false pride, ego, and anger. Thirdly, if one's apology is just to avoid punishment and not out of genuine concern for the affected party, one might tend to repeat the same mistake again. This is exactly what happened to Indra. His apology was based on a fear of getting punished and not out of concern, so he repeated the same mistake again. Finally, by acknowledging one's mistakes, one becomes humble, and by remembering them, one remains humble. Indra acknowledged his mistake, therefore he became humble, but he forgot to remember them. If we remember our mistakes, then we're one step closer, back to Godhead, back to Krishna. Jai Shri Giridhari Ki. Thank you. Any questions?
Yadi, yadi. First of all, Arman, you're hired. That was charming, informative, well put together. Your stage presence was likable, as you are, and I really liked this slide presentation. It was well lined up. Simple, but you hit all the points. It was succinct, no extra stuff. Really nicely done. Please keep doing it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Anyone has any questions or comments or reflections? Yes, Prabhu. Do you have a mic?
Hare Krishna. I really liked how you started the presentation. You first thanked Vaisesika Maharaj and everyone else. And I was actually thinking, it's not a verbal thing or done out of like everybody does. I noticed that you sit in the class, you give reflection. So it's actually not while you're here, but you actually mean it. So I was just appreciating that aspect of that. And I also like the humor. I mean, it's very difficult to pull off, but the way you did it is wonderful. Who is this little boy worshipping a hill, and husband-wife joke also. thank you so much. I think we see the future is in good hands. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Does anyone have any more questions or reflections?
I'm impressed, very, very impressed.
Thank you.
You did such a beautiful job, like, you know, what they said. And the takeaways were so informative and beyond your age, you know, and beyond time. There were timeless takeaways for all of us to learn from and reflect on in everyday life. Excellent.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Arman. Thank you so much for the presentation. I think your takeaways were the highlight for me. I really loved them. I have a question. So for your last takeaway, it was about how, I really liked it. It was my favorite one. It was how acknowledging your mistake lets you become humble, but remembering it keeps you humble. You know, I've never thought of it that way before. But it brings to mind the phrase, forgive and forget, which I hear a lot. And it's like, you forgive and then both parties can forget the mistake and move on like it never happened. And do you think that this is not the correct mindset to have then?
I'd say that Krishna does forgive. He has mercy, so he forgives and forgets, but also Indra should not forget, because if he forgets, which is what he did in the first story, in the Govardhan Leela, if he forgets, then he will not remember the lesson learned from his mistake, and he may commit a similar mistake again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arman. I think everyone pretty much said what I wanted to say. I want to highlight just one little thing that you did, which is that you had credits on your image that I've never seen. So I appreciate your attention to detail, and then, of course, thanking where the image came from. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, reflections? Okay. Thank you so much, Arman. Such a joy to hear you. And I hope to keep hearing from you.
Thank you.
He's just joined our class, so I'm sure we'll have many more opportunities. Thank you to the parents for training their children so well. It's a great asset that you've moved to ISC, and we can thank every day for with deep gratitude the association we have of pure devotees. Thank you so much.
I also wanted to thank Risheshri Mataji for allowing me to have this opportunity and speak about Krishna.
It's only by the mercy of my Guru Vargas and Srila Prabhupada that we're all here today, so thank you.
Thank you, Risheshri Leela, for developing this genre of the young people giving these talks. It's become one of the premier programs, and we really appreciate your dedication to the education of all the children here. Thank you for taking the lead on that. Hare Krishna. A little more, come on. So now we have Arman. That's why we say you're our man. Next we have we have a few announcements, starting with the Bhakti community. we'd like to hear about how we've developed a plan to introduce brand new people who've never heard of Krishna before to a process through which they can get the association of devotees and become fully engaged in devotional service.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the opportunity. Please accept my humble obeisances. As you all know, Bhakti community is a community of spiritual seekers who come together, focused on making progress on Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love and gratitude. So whenever we go out, and we do thank our book distributors who, when they go out, they take the bookmark with them, which has the Bhakti community details. It does have a Maha Mantra on the bookmark along with the explanation on one side, as well as the programs which are there throughout the week, which happens in Bhakti communities also. In the bookmark, starting with Bhakti on Monday, where we have a very basic simplified Krishna consciousness presented to newcomers. And we have Bhakti Circle on Thursdays, where we have started reading books. Currently, we are reading the 4 questions book, and it's being very, very well received. The content of Krishna consciousness is presented in a very simplified way. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank the room leaders. So as most of you know, in Bhakti Circle, we break out into different rooms where we read the book, and then we discuss the reflections and come back and share reflections in the broader group. So this week we had Chak Prabhu, Niji Mataji, Barbara Mataji, and Yashoda Kripa Prabhu, who kindly led the room and encouraged the participants, which was wonderful. So thank you all of them. And on Friday we have Success Sadhana, and Sundays we have Women's Circle. So these are the programs which happen throughout the week. So please, if you're going out, do take this bookmark with you so that you can introduce Bhakti community with them, and also give them a community so that the community can nurture and help them make progress. Thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Now we have announcements from Team ISV's book distribution.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming today. I know that a lot of our young or youth wanted to go out on book distribution. So recently Prema Kishori Mataji told me that her son, Advait Srinivasan, one day all of a sudden came and said that I want to do something more for book distribution. So he started setting up tables at farmers markets. He, along with I think Akshar Nitai Prabhu and Advait as well, they were going out to these farmers market. And yesterday they went to Muir Woods also. So Madhav Govinda Prabhu took them, and he always goes out to Muir Woods. So I would request if Madhav Govinda Prabhu, would you like to say something about your experiences there? It is so encouraging to see the youth taking up on their own responsibility of going out.
Hare Krishna. It was a wonderful experience. Advait and Akshanita, they wanted to come, and I just tagged along with them. It was very sweet seeing their enthusiasm and their desire to actually distribute more books. I remember Akshanita, he said, my favorite book to distribute is the 4 questions. You know, he was like, everyone who comes, he was the first person to like jump on sharing that book, and it keeps on going for a while, and it was so nice to see their interest and enthusiasm. I mean, yeah, book distribution, it was so much of an adventure. We just don't know what we are getting into, but it's like how Prabhupada took the Jaladuta. It's the same way that we take the Jaladuta into the unknown. We know that there is Krishna's protection is there on the other hand to help us and guide us in distributing Krishna's message, which he really wants it to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari. I highly recommend anyone please take advantage of Madhava Govinda's association. I'm conceiving a book about him and his amazing journey. What determination that he was pushed out of the country and then made a circuitous route to come back in just so he could come here and distribute books. And then he brought his illustrious wife with him, and what Prabhupada used to say, double it. Thank you, Madhava Govinda, for what you're doing. It's the most important, showing by example and teaching others, especially young people, how to learn the art of book distribution. I'm deeply grateful to you. We all are. Hare Krishna.
And you might have heard about Cupertino team, who is distributing books like Bhagavatam sets, like in few numbers. So we have Achyuta Kumar Prabhu here. Would like to share something about his inspiration, realization, how he goes week after week. I don't know if anybody saw his car. It's packed with books. There is no place for a second person to sit in the car. And his wife says, please empty the car before the weekend ends, soon, if any books are remaining. So he has tremendous enthusiasm. And if it is not double digits, he gets disappointed. So let's hear from Prabhu, if he can share some realizations.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranams, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. So, before stepping out, we seek prayers from a lot of devotees in the temple, so that we can do some Bhagavatam sets. And what we observe is basically everything is done by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He brings the people, he brings their Lakshmi, he also brings what sets we have to load, and he gives all that intelligence and everything, and he orchestrates everything. Like what Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, that for Arjuna is saying that these people are already killed, you just go and just do the job and take the credit. So one pastime I can narrate in book distribution is, we were, we go as a team of 4 people, headed by Malini Mataji, and then Namsmaran Prabhu, His Grace Dhira Prashant Prabhu, and myself. So one day, we were at the end, almost at 9:30. The store is almost closed, and then we were trying to wrap up, and there was a parking lot empty. Usually the parking lot is full there. So only one lot is empty. It's 9 o'clock, I think. So a car gets parked, and we were completely done. We were about to leave. And then this car parked, and we both decide, okay, let's see, they're getting down, let's ask. And then we go ask, and one lady, she already took the Bhagavatam, and there are 3-4 people who got down. And another person also took it. And then later, they told that they are from Canada. They came here. And so I told them, to make it easy, we can ship it if they cannot take it. But somehow she took the set. But later I got a text from her husband that, is it okay that you can ship, and instead of English, can I get Telugu? So then I said, it's fine, you come to my home, and they came to my home, the husband came to my home. And then when I'm giving the set, I also gave some prasadam to him. So he opened up and he said that, we lost our daughter, who's 4 years old. So that was really, piercing statement when he said that. And then we gave the Telugu set, some prasadam, and then the contact and everything. So if we reflect back, if you see, Krishna has left a parking lot open for them, next to the place where we have Bhagavatams. And we did have Bhagavatam sets in our car. And then we were about to leave. We were just closing our trunk, and the car came and parked. So the whole thing says that Krishna gave the parking lot open. They came from all the way from Canada, and look at the timing. And all those things happen in an orchestrated format. So it's Krishna who is doing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is doing. And we feel so grateful to go and serve our leaders of book distribution, and whatever we can do. Seeking all of your blessings. Thank you so much.
When we went to a store which is Apna Bazaar, Then there is a store sign which says open 24 hours. Then Achyuta Kumar Prabhu was showing you, did you see Prabhu? This is open 24 hours. So it's like a kid in a candy store that he can distribute books all night long. That's his enthusiasm to distribute Bhagavatam. So thank you so much, Prabhu. We also want to welcome our dear Kautakarna Prabhu, who is back from a long break in India, fully rejuvenated. We all have been waiting for you, Prabhu. I don't know if you got the garland, but we designed a special garland with the golds wrapped around the garland. Okay. And I want to end with a small story. Generally, our approach to people is that if you ask them to take immediately, if they don't take, they never come back. But we see that the trend is changing these days, especially with youngsters. They say that there was a young couple, I think wife works in Microsoft and husband works for a startup. They came and we explained about Srimad Bhagavatam. And we told them, take it immediately. And they said, no, let us think about it. So we just gave them an opportunity to take some time to think. So the couple went inside to the grocery store. And actually they came back, which is rare because they go away from the other path if we are here on this side. It's a comeback. Sometimes people call boomerang or whatever when they come back. And when they came back, they said, we have made up our mind. And I asked, what did you decide? He said, we will take the book. We'll take the set. And they also wanted to donate offline. They did. And not only that, after the next day, he sent me a text message saying, I really like the cause that you're doing about distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Is it available for me to send some set to India also? And we said, sure, why not? And I said, if you like to send a set, send me an address. And just this morning, after a week's time, he sent the address to be shipped in India, and he wants to send more donation. So it's okay for youngsters to take some time. If we cannot push them too hard, you can give them some time and they can come back as well. So that was very nice to hear that. Thank you very much. We have many, many spots today, which we'll post on the Weekend Warriors. There will be Cupertino, Fremont, one in Tri-Valley, and then Kautakarna Prabhu and team will head out to some places here locally as well. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we got a lot of exciting announcements here today. Okay, Arjun is going to tell us what's happening with our Shloka Challenge Shastra Jam. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. As you may know, our next Shloka memorization set is Queen Kunti's prayers, and we're trying to memorize that set by September 11th, which is Radhashtami, so that's our offering. And we have curated a PDF of all the verses with the translations and the word for word as well, which we'll be sending out later today, so be on the lookout for that. We hope it'll make it easier. Yeah, there it is. We hope it'll make it easier for you all to memorize these verses. And yeah, I think that's all. So if you need any assistance or if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or Yash over there. And yeah, we hope you take up this challenge. There's different levels. If you haven't seen the email yet, then please let us know. We can tell you what the different levels are. And we encourage you to memorize these verses because there will be a special prize for those who do at the end. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And now Bhakti Yash will talk about the all-important, on-the-rise new team here at ISV, which is cleaning, uncluttering. We're planning for new standards of cleanliness in the temple. And I ordered already online a pair of white gloves. So please get ready, because I'm going to go around and test all the different corners. And it's for all of us. It's not just there's one cleaner in the temple, but it's a new opportunity for all of us to clean the Lord's temple. And we'd like to bring it to the highest level possible, just as we've done in other departments. Sachinder Krishna Prabhu is heading this department. Yash is the right-hand man. And please tell us what's happening and how you're going about cleaning the temple.
Hare Krishna, yes. As Vaisesika Maharaj just mentioned, a big part of being in such an illustrious temple is also maintaining it and cleaning it, making sure the standards are always very high. One area we'd especially like to focus this effort in is in the kitchen in particular. As you know, every Saturday and Sunday we have programs here, and all our amazing cooks make amazing feasts and amazing prasadam for everyone and for the lordships as well. But after the prasadam is made, a big part and a big important part is to make sure we clean all the vessels in the entire kitchen to make sure the standard is always high and that we can always continue to make amazing prasadam with a nice clean facility. So one thing to facilitate this is that we like to do is to have different teams so that the cleaning service can be divided amongst multiple devotees. It's not just one person doing it every time, because it can be very burdensome. It can be very burdensome, and it can be a tough task as well. So one thing that I'm working with Sachinder Krishna Prabhu and Siddha Katha Prabhu on is to develop teams for each, before every feast, in small teams. So you can every set of team can do it just once a month and help clean the kitchen as well. So if you're interested in this service, you can reach out to myself, Sachinder Krishna Prabhu or Siddha Katha Prabhu, and we'll make sure we can get something started and help keep the standard at ISV very high. That's all. Thank you so much.
I have an overwhelmingly pleasant announcement to make that comes from my heart. And that is, we have now in our midst Prem Nam, Tulsi Bhakti, and Vaish. Please come up. I'd like to introduce you to the community. Please give them an unusually, that's nothing more. Please. Sorry, Vaish. Okay, you stay. You come. Prem Nam, Tulsi Bhakti, and their son decidedly changed course coming all the way from Australia. They're very successful there, well established, been there for years. Prabhu wrote me a letter, actually we discussed it last time you were here, and said, we're coming here because we want to be part of the community. It's not because of a job, move, or anything like that. It's a conscious, very deliberate choice to come here. So we're so touched that you came, and sorry I embarrassed anybody. But I'm just so happy you're here, and I wanted to give you a formal welcome. Would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say that we feel that we know a lot of you because we've been listening to Vaisesika Prabhu and all of you for more than 10 years virtually from Australia. And we feel that we're already part of the community just by virtue of how much Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji have helped us, whether they know it or not. And we are exceedingly pleased to be here and very, very grateful for each and every one of yours association. It's a bit of a cliche, but I do really mean it. Please engage us in your service. We're here for you. We're here for Shishi Radha Madan Mohan. We're here for Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji. And we want to try to make our lives successful in Prabhupada's service. So please help us do that. Thank you very much.
See, Vaish, now I'm embarrassed. Thank you very much. So we're really extremely happy that you've come here, and we look forward to the next stage of Krishna consciousness. So we see you're coming here as a harbinger of our increase in quantum ways in our community. Finally, last announcement I have before we announce the cooks is that today there's a special meeting for kids. What ages? 15 to 25. 8-year-olds, you made it under the wire to not have to go to a meeting. 15 to 25, it's a very important meeting. It's from the Child Protection Office training, and it gives special training for the young people, the kids. We have regular training for the adults to know how to be aware of how to protect all the children in the community and to be vigilant about it. And now we also have a course that gives awareness to the kids also how to stay protected. So that'll happen right after these announcements and after the grain ceremony and during prasadam. It's a working breakfast. So kids, get used to it. Now we have announcements about the cooks.
Hare Krishna. Today's prasadam was cooked by Hansa Priya Mataji, Koladvip Pran Prabhu, Malai Prabhu, Vamsi Mohan Prabhu, Sri Gopal Prabhu, and Aradhya, Shriyan, Vraja, and Anvaya. And today they'll be coming up to share the menu and the process they used in the kitchen.
Hare Krishna, today's menu is spaghetti and tomato soup.
The ingredients we used is cheese, olives, olive oil, vinegar, dried basil, oregano, salt, and black pepper. Don't forget this was made with love and devotion. Don't worry if you're vegan. Hansapriya Mataji has something for you.
Thank you.
Now we have a grain ceremony, so we'll be sitting down for the next few minutes to have this ceremony. You can turn towards the deities. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna.
Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna,
Drum, more drum.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Welcome, dear devotees. We're here for a special ceremony for Girija, who will be receiving her first grains today. And this is one of the life passages when baby very noticeably changes from just taking simple food, milk, maybe formula sometimes, and then looking at grains and seeing that I'm hungry, right? On the right track here. And the reason this is a very sweet ceremony is because our system is to remember Krishna in all aspects of life, not to neglect life, but to notice that Krishna is within everything, and with every different transition in life, we're able to become very aware of Krishna. And for that purpose, for many years here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley, for this grain ceremony, we've sat together again and again before the deities to offer this transitional taking of grains and to remember Krishna by chanting the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna himself says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva, which is that I'm the fire of digestion. And if you think about how profound that is, and at the same time very straightforward and commonsensical, that yes, the main thing we do every day or look forward to, at least I do, is eating. Something that can't be denied. And Krishna is there with us as the digestion, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff, of which you'll today be receiving, I'm glad to say, sweet rice, Mahaprasad. So this is one of the ways in which a child embraced by loving parents and relatives and the community comes before Krishna in this very sweet way, starting with beautiful kirtan as we had to begin the ceremony, and then remembering Krishna by chanting together the Bhagavad Gita, and then taking the grains directly from the hands of the assembled devotees. She'll remember throughout her life, consciously or unconsciously, this very sweet ceremony to remember Krishna. Okay, Girija? Say yes. Let's chant together the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter. Ata panchadashodhyayaha Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhva Mulamada Shakam Ashvatam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Varnani Yastam Veda Savedavid Adashordvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrida Vishaya Pravala Adashtamulan and Santatani Armani Bandini Manusha Loke Narupa Masyeha Tatopalabhyate Nanto Nachadir Nacha Sampratishta Ashvatamenam Sivaruda Mulam Asanga Shastrena Dritena Chitva Tatak Param Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gato Na Nivratanti Bhuya Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yata Pravriti Prashrita Purani Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Dvanver Vamukta Sukha Dukha Samjay Gachantya Mura Parama Vyayam Tad Na Tad Vasayate Suryo Na Shashanko Na Pavakaha Yadgatva Na Nivartante Tadama Paramam Mama Mamaivam Sho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manakshastani Indriyani Prakriti-stani Karshati Shariram Yadavatnoti Shakti Kramatishvara Grihikaitani Samyati Vayurgandhani Vasaya Shotram Chakshushparshanam Cha Rasanam Grananeva Cha Atishaya Manaschayam Vishayam Pasevate Ukramantam Stitam Bhati Unjanam Vadunamritam Vivudhanam Pashyanti Pashyanti Jnanachakshusha Yatanto Yoginaschainam Pashyantyatman Yavastitam Yatanto Kyakritatmano Nainam Pashyanti Chetasaha Yad Aditya Gatam Tejo Jagad Bhasayate Kilam Yachandramasi Yachchagnau Tat Tejo Vidimamakam Gam Abhishacha Bhutani Dharayam Yaham Ojasa Pushnami Chausadi Saiva Soho Bhutva Satmakaha Ambaishvanaro Bhutva Prahinam Dehamashita Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanam Chaturvidam Sarasya Chaham Visanidishto Matatsnitya Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedaishta Sarve Ahameva Vedyo Vedanta Veda Veda Chaham Ravina Purusha Loke Shara Eva Cha Shara Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Shara Uchete Uttama Purushastanya Paramatme Kudanika Yolokatrayam Avishya Ishvara Yasmat Sharamati Akshayada Ishotama Atosmi Loke Devecha Patita Purushottama Yomam Sambudho Janati Purushottamam Sarvavid Bhajatimam Sarvavadena Avata Iti Guyatamam Shastram Idam Ukva Vayanaga Ekad Budva Buddhimansya Krita Kritascha Bharata Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Juna Sambhade Purushottam Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyayaha Hari Om. And now we need a little Ma mantra, lively tune. Well, we ask Girija to come here and take your first grains of Mahaprasadam. It is Maha, it's been offered, so please not to worry. Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So far, we'll Girija give you the most cooperative baby award. So cooperative, at the same time curious, and very pensive. And continuing our way of divining your future and personality. Girija, if you don't mind this. This is more for us than it is for you. We have over here, notice, the feet going. She's going somewhere. We have Shastra on the right. We have huge stacks of cash. This jewelry, I don't know, it's from the heavenly planets. See that side? Girija, you have your choice. Pick one or the other or both, and we'll observe. And then we'll make some divination based on your choice, okay? So you go here, right here. You can still use your footwork. And choose. She got a motor on her. Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, from Sridhari Gopal and Sindhu Kanya and family, we have the results are in. She'll attract Lakshmi from every direction. And we noticed, it didn't go unnoticed, at the end she did what would be a proper dandavat to the Bhagavatam. And so our conclusion is, from our panel, that she'll be instrumental in attracting Saraswati, Lakshmi Devi, the power of speech to describe the Lord, and also to help organize the energies of the Lord to spread Krishna consciousness, especially through book distribution of, and especially Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi, Nrsingadevi, if you so desire, please protect, bless, and empower our dear Girija, that she'll always be engaged safely in service at your lotus feet. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maha mantra to finish.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
And now we have the song everyone's been waiting for. Sharira Vijaja Jodandriya Kahika Vivekaya Vishaya Sabhare Hanamati Divayati Lovamati Gurmati Sakejita Krishna Shri Caitanya Gita Mata de Govinde Nam Brahmi Vaisesika Sapa Punya Vasambrajan Visasonan Aite Prasani Sarva Vitanam Hamirasya Upajayate Tasanakse Taso Yashu Pujipaya Pujipya Sayopa Vishya Satyanda Vasavankar
Shaha Utishta Bodhino Dasa Savamayan Denahi Shisham Paisham Vapi Nityam Vaturishta Bhakti Matrena Bhotadyan Nakala Charina Nisha Niya Mastatra Nakala Niya Mastatra Saptamanam Rukam Shishta Bhoktavyam Hayat Abravi Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasada Ki Goda Premanande Nitai Goda Haribo I hereby declare Girisha's first grain ceremony to be an unqualified success. Haribo! Vanchakopdurvishcha kripasanibhavacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha Nantakuri Vaishnavi Ki Jai.